All right, everybody. It's that time. It's that time for the damn conversation. I'm speaking. I'm in Wood Lane. My scheduled guest tonight, he's not yet shown up, is the gig boss man. He's out of Birmingham, Alabama. Um, and tonight's supposed to be the OG night. That's right, OG. Now, I'm going to say this before he comes on. When I think of OG, it has a much different connotation than what most people um, refer to OG these days. There's a movie out there that's called South Central. It was made in 1992, and a part of the kid's aspiration was to become an OG. That's the clue. Uh, but for the sake of this conversation and what most people refer to as OG, they're talking about somebody who's been around. But again, the connotation that I'm used to is not that. Well, um, meanwhile, since we're still waiting for the gig boss man to show up, try to get you caught up to date with what's going on in recent I'm speaking sessions. Last week we had Madame CEO, Madame Ruth of Giroux Trucking, and had a nice. Oh, all right. He's confused where he's supposed to be. Okay, let's do it like this. I'm gonna help you out there, man. That's why I sent you the link. Click that link and I'll bring you in. Gig. Just click the link and I'll bring you on. But anyway, so we had Madame Ruth of Giroux Trucking, uh, and she graced our presence. The week before that, we had free game night. Okay, Gig Boss Man is in the green room, so I'll bring him on very shortly. And before that, we had St. Mike 504 of Denver. So there was a little bit of confusion there. I'm telling on Gig Boss Man, but but he's here. He's here. That's why you heard me say that. Sending in a link and all. Um, so as for me, it's been it's been a little slow this week, at least in my market and in my endeavors. Uh, I think some of it could be the summer slowdown, uh, but then again, I've been able to do what I have normally done or what I'm known to do. Um, I can't. I really can't complain. Today I had three delivery opportunities. Yesterday I had three delivery opportunities, and if memory serves me correct, I think Monday I had three delivery opportunities as well. So, you know, I who can complain? All right. So what we're gonna do is bring in Gig Boss Man and his friend. It looks like his name is MD from the Atlanta area, and so we're gonna have this damn conversation. Hey, y'all.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
All right. Thanks for joining the conversation. Gig Boss Man says, "Oh, he got just a Google Meet," and I sent him an email earlier today with the link. So I don't know what happened, but anyway. So you're out of Atlanta, MD, right?
Yeah, I'm out of Atlanta over here.
Okay, so you're about 3 hours away from me. 3 hours from I-20, and then Boss Man is another 2.5 hours further down the road on I-20 as well. Um, let's see here. It looks like he's. I guess he's out hustling or something like that. There was a parking lot scene. Um, now y'all, if this is your first time
Can you hear
stepping
me?
out, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm having some audio problems. Yeah, I got a link saying meet at Google Meet from you. It said Google Meet, so I clicked on Google Meet and it opened up another screen. I don't know what was going on. I knew it was
And I'll
StreamYard the last time. I don't know what that Google Meet thing was. I don't
okay.
even use that.
The Google Meet was I don't know about that now, but I sent you a Google reminder, and then
Ah,
I sent an actual email earlier in the day or yesterday with the actual
right.
link.
Right. I remember how to get in here. That Google Meet thing threw me off. I guess it was something that it did automatically, but it's all for nothing. All for nothing. What's going on?
Right.
That's my brother. That's my brother right there. We're not
Uh-huh.
really brothers, but that's the best friend I
Hey,
ever made in the last few years.
Oh,
what's
very
going on,
nice.
old man?
No, I'm the old man. I'm
Nah,
older than
that's the
all.
old man, right?
No,
Shoot, I'm
I'm
up
older.
opposite direction.
I'm older than all y'all. I
Oh
promise
shoot.
you. I promise you, I'm older than all y'all.
Yeah. So I got a chance to meet with this fella on a different accord, doing a whole different industry.
Uh-huh.
But my bread and butter was really transportation for a long time.
Okay.
Um, and so I started in livery, taxi cabs, limos,
Yeah.
SUVs, stuff like that. And then that's a really good industry as well. Transporting people is still a very big thing. Even what do you call it? NEMT, non-emergency medical transportation, where you're taking people to their
Hmm.
dialysis appointments and different things like that.
Right.
Seniors to their appointments and things. It's pretty profitable as well.
Well, it's interesting you would say that. Now, my foray into this space of delivery and transport, actually, the original idea was to get into the non-emergency medical transport, transporting folk to the kidney dialysis appointments, to the mainly the kidney dialysis or maybe other medical appointments. But then I looked into what it required, which was a lot of, when you're dealing with the feds, you're dealing with a lot of red tape,
Yeah.
a lot of bureaucracy. And then I got to looking into the type of money you're, at least this is just my observation. You're looking into, there's opportunities, but you have to have a lot of them because you're operating on a very small margin. And so somehow, as it worked out for me, I happened to meet a young guy in a Walmart parking lot while doing a gig app opportunity, and we got to talking. He happened to have a Dodge City mini cargo van, and again we got to talking. This kid's like 40% of my age at the time, and he kind of sparked my curiosity about a van because I've been doing things out my F-150. And a few weeks later, I created the current LLC that I have. That's for delivery and transport. I got another one for my insurance agency. And then the following week, I went to Bank of America, applied for a business credit card, and then, oh, just out of curiosity, because I tried to get a van through Carvana, and they said that they couldn't do commercial. I wanted to do it all, under my business name. So I went back to Bank of America, and by the end of the week, I had both a loan for a van and pretty good limit on a business credit card. But it started with the non-emergency medical transport, looking into that.
Yeah, that was a really good money. I was tied with a local cab company in Phoenix, Arizona that had they were the largest hybrid fleet. They had the largest hybrid fleet. They use Toyota Priuses for the cab.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that was the trend. That's the trend. Yeah.
yeah, and then Toyota Sienna vans for their vans, and then for the wheelchair vans. Wheelchair vans were amazing. The money you make in a wheelchair van is absolute. I became a driver trainer for them, and then safety officer on the road. But I was able to, even when I started doing the classroom training for drivers, I would tell them, look, the cash is out there. You can get it. This is Phoenix, Arizona. We are a high tourist area, high tourist. Conventions flow in and out all day long. You
Right.
should be making $700 a day flat automatically.
A day. Wow.
A day. No, it was, and it's possible. And I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
Arizona hosts spring training, 19 teams,
Yeah.
19 Major League Baseball teams, spring training. They also have the Barrett Jackson auction. For those that don't know, that's that auction where they sell cars like Batmobiles and Scooby Doo vans, all those high dollar, multi-million dollar cars. They bring in people with a ton of money. The Arabian Horse Show, the Waste Management Open, which is the PGA tournament. Tiger Woods has played in that. We had the Super Bowl twice in the time period I lived there. Pro Bowl was there. They had moved the Pro Bowl from Honolulu one year, brought it there to play before the Super Bowl. And so there's a lot of tourism. There's a lot of highly rated golf clubs, places to play golf. Like people come in from Canada and Mexico on private jets just to play golf in Phoenix, Arizona. And so there's a lot of traffic. So to go from the Waldorf Astoria up in northern Arizona to back to the airport is $150 drive in an SUV. If it's a convention and there's 100 people there, you could be doing runs back and forth from that airport.
I get what you're saying.
For several 3-4 hours, right?
Right. There's a content creator whom I've had on my I'm Speaking a couple of times now. His name is Jeff Watts. Goes by Mic Drop Barbecue, and he is in the Phoenix area. And his big push now is to get drivers to negotiate their own rides, get away from the gig apps. Just get the livery license, get the commercial insurance, and build up your personal client base that way, and build up your own network of drivers. And I've not checked in on things in the last week or so, but that's his thing. At one time, he was killing it on the apps, but he's seen how the apps have gone a different direction. But so yes, I am familiar with Phoenix that way in terms of the money. It's just that I did not know that. Hey, $7 a day. My time. Yeah. When I did rideshare, 700-800. Well, my best week was like $882, and I call myself working my ass off to get that type of money. 700-800, but 700-800 a week was what I did, and that was okay for my market. What I've been doing now in recent years, should I do that? I can do that in a day. I do 700 a day, not at will, but it is an attainable number. Yeah, but now I had Big Gig Boss Man because I was going to try to, because he's the reason why you're on and all. But since we're talking OG and so forth, obviously, you
yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, you've interacted with a lot of young folk, and I scribbled down some notes about just what I call OG talk. And I find, like, with the younger folk, and y'all, if you're checking this out, this is not to bash young folk, but since we are a little further along, myself, MD, and Gig Boss Man, we've gone through the same stages of life as well. And one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of the younger folk just don't listen. They just don't listen. They it goes through one ear out the other.
And you're constantly trying to get them advice, and of course they know better. They got to learn. I guess they got to trip first. I guess they got to make the errors before they actually realize what you're telling them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll think back on it
at some point. You would think, right?
Yeah. They'll think back like, okay, maybe I need to take this route because this is what the guy told me. I just stubbed my toe. I think I better go this way.
Yeah. I think back to 1982 for me, and that was kind of a tumultuous time in which a lot of stuff was not going right at home. Not so much as about me, but just things were not going right at home. And I was in school, and I'm thinking, I would be better served trying to not go to school, but hustle at the bowling alley or the racetrack. And I even went as far as just stop going to class. Just stop going to class. Not that I was a bad student, just stop going. And I told this guy named Earl Laurie about what I was doing. And Earl Laurie, who was not this, he would never be mistaken for salt of the earth. He was trying to get me to see maybe you need to stick it out. But I didn't want to hear that. I just wanted to try to make money at the bowling alley and racetrack. And I ended up quitting school. They administratively flunked me because I did not drop out of my classes because I knew everything. But, that's just one example. And let me, if I were to tie it in with just talking about business and all, I think a lot of young folk come in, they think they're entering business with the hustler mentality, and they crash and burn. To do business requires a different mindset. What would y'all say about that?
Well, yeah, you're 100% right. You gotta. Well, because this guy here, MD, he's he's got a great business mind. He's always throwing stuff at, even if he's got to throw it at the wall and see if it sticks, he'll try it. And if it doesn't work out, because you got to have some kind of ambition. You got to have the ambition. You got to want to listen and learn from people in the industry that you're trying to get into. You have to do that.
Yeah, this is a business, right? If when people here's the problem with here's the current state of trucking, right, and transportation. All of a sudden, I think this is what happened was when Amazon made it easy for people to start a business, right? You rent a box truck, get your DOT number, insurance, and now you're running Amazon loads, right? Pulling pallets on, at Amazon, and then dropping them off at the post office and whatnot, and going about your business, making good money. But at the time, it was really good money. People were making $600, $700, $800 a day easily. Then when they start making YouTube videos about it, Instagram videos, all these social media videos saying, hey, you can get into this industry by just with a regular driver's license, right? Here's what happened. It took the professionalism out of it, right? Because I'm a CDL driver. I'm a Class A CDL driver. I got my CDL in 2012. You're taught how to drive. You're trained. You pay attention to every small detail on the road. Everything sticks out to you, right? But you got these drivers that really don't, they just, I can drive that. I've driven a U-Haul before, so I can drive that truck.
That's the same.
And that's what we got. And then here's the other side to that. Great. You know how to drive a U-Haul truck. That's half of it, right? Most people, pallet jack, that's easy. Pump the pallet jack,
Right.
whatever. Load the truck, strap it, move on about your business. Okay. Use a lift gate. But the biggest thing that people didn't really consider is that they didn't have the business acumen, right? Understanding cost, right? What's the cost of doing business? Yes, I go out, I can rent a truck from Enterprise for about $600 a week, right? That's $2,400 a month, right?
More than that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was paying $484 for my box truck from Enterprise with $15 a week, a mile cost. Had a really good cost. So let's say for easy numbers, $500 a week, right? That's $2,000 a month. Well, if you're a new DOT, right? If your DOT and motor carrier number is brand new, your insurance is going to be outrageous, right?
Yes.
You're talking, and depending on the age of the truck, if it's a 2025 box truck, you're going to pay because the cost of repairs and the cost of replacement is higher. So you're $1,800 to $2,000 a month on your new commercial insurance, right? Especially if you say that you go over 500 miles, right? If you travel over 500 miles, it's going to be high.
They're automatically going to put you at 500.
Yeah. So now look at it. We're looking at
automatic. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
automatically.
Yeah. And so if you look at it, you're already monthly in the red, $4,000 if your insurance is $2,000 and the rental for the truck is $2,000. So you have to make $4,000 first before you can even say I profited, right?
Well, don't forget your first tank of gas.
First tank of gas. What is that? And diesel's what? Diesel here in Georgia is $3.39.
Okay.
Today.
You got like 70 gallons to fill it up.
90 gallons in a box truck.
Depending on which model, but
depending on So some of them have two tanks, so it could be 100 total. 50
so
on each.
Let's use on so then let's go on the high end. So you're talking $350 plus. So you're like in upwards of $4,500 before you even make your first dollar.
And so some people don't think about those costs. Well, go ahead, Matt. Some people focus on the wrong costs first. You need to point that out because you know, they don't pay attention to the fact that my truck note, my insurance, you know,
Okay. And think about
it's
this. Let me go ahead and drop this in there on you real quick. You have to start, if you're a new company, a new LLC, a new trucking company, you have to start your insurance at the 26th day that you've applied for your DOT number so that they can
Or
approve
else.
it so that you can
Right.
get your motor carrier number. So you're probably going to pay that first month of insurance before you even can work.
Right. Right.
So by the time you can actually work, you're on payment number 2. So you're
Not-
$4,000
It's
negative
6.
already.
Yeah. Going on 6 to 8.
Because you don't have the truck yet. You don't have to grab the truck. You don't have to have the truck to get your motor carrier approved. You don't have to have that truck yet, right? So, but to get, what you can do is call like Enterprise and get a VIN number. Say, hey, can you give me a VIN number so I can get the insurance policy, right? And they'll give you one. They'll give you one because you could change it at any point, right? But what we're talking about is the cost of getting started. So a lot of people they're taking money out, 401ks, they're borrowing money, they're emptying out their savings to go into a business that they're truly not privy to how it works, right? Everybody's like, well, starting a business is easy. No, it is not.
No, it's
No,
not.
the hell it is not. If I say to you, do you use QBO online? Most people don't even know what that is. And then I have to explain to you, that's QuickBooks online. QuickBooks, it's how you manage your finances. It's how you identify where your profit loss is, because it's going to provide you with a balance sheet and an income statement, profit and loss statement.
Right.
When you link it to your bank account, it's going to show you where your expenditures are. If you're spending too much money on eating out for lunch, if you're spending too much, how much you're spending on gas, it helps you keep track of the expenditures that you're going to need to use on your taxes at the end of the year. Right. And so a lot of people think they're running a business, but all they're doing is hustling.
That's right. Now I want to acknowledge a couple of folk. Redman, thanks for coming through here. You put in there OG Night. Scott, thanks for what you just contributed. Hopefully I sound a little better. I did 2 mic checks before I came on. So
your voice does sound a little low. I don't know why it just sounds a little low. Like when MD talks, it gets loud, but that's better.
Okay, all right, that's what it was. It just a couple notches lower. Okay.
It sounds balanced now.
Yeah, it's I try. I don't want to sound too loud, but I also be mindful of not sounding too low. A lot of what you're talking about, MD, are some of the very things that I got a video coming out tomorrow that's titled Hustling. Bear with me, I can tell you as it is what's coming out tomorrow, and this is good timing. The video is it running a hustle or is it running a business? That's what I got coming out tomorrow. And so what we're talking about is a little what the video is going to be about. Even though I'm in the midst of doing some deliveries, I just point out some things, some quick hits of some things to get people to thinking. Now, one term that I've mentioned a lot since 2023, I can't ask how can you get the second and third pallets out of your Sprinter van. Okay, I'll answer that, Scott. Now, one term that I've often used is your break point. It is the intersection of your upward trend of income against your outlays, your costs, your expenses. And this actually was what I used to kind of project where I should be in terms of turning a profit. I figured it would take me about 6 to 8 months. So that meant that I knew I was going to get my ass kicked about 6 to 8 months, taking on a lot of water. And, this is where people talk about, if you don't have a lot of money, you got to have either a real deep credit line, or you're going to try to, ideally what you want to do is a mix of, leverage and cash. But even if you got strictly cash, you're going to deplete those funds starting out. And then you're going to have to rebuild, replenish that money. But in the process of getting to that break point, you're going to take on a lot of water. A lot of water. And let's not even talk about what may be going on.
The first year in transportation is going to be rough. You need to be prepared. And that's why I tell people, get you a business credit card. Get you a business credit card. You need to start establishing that business's credit quickly because you can't be depending on your personal credit. That's getting
Right.
Capital One has a Spark business card. You can get it. It's probably if you don't have good credit, it's going to start you out $1,000. Use it for your small purchases like buying your food along the way. Pay it off, build that up because that's going to help you when the times get hard, and they will get hard
Real fast too.
real
Now,
fast.
but here's the other thing that I often tell folks on the other side of the thing about depending on where you go with the business credit card, it is still it is still going to be reflective of your good credit because they're going to ask for the guarantor. You are
Yes.
the guarantor until the business builds up a sufficient history. Scott asked the question, how can you get the second and third pallets out of your Sprinter van? Well, I think, well, I'm going to answer that with my van, which is a Ford Transit 250. It's a long wheelbase, but it only carries 2 pallets. Um, let's presume that both pallets are 500 pounds. Well, I can kind of muscle out that second 500, but ideally, what you can do is if you have certain type of ratchet strap, you can just tie the ratchet strap around the base of the pallet and just have the guy with the pallet jack the forklift to pull it out. If he says he can't do that, then what you can do is what I did in Miami one time is if there's a pole or post nearby, tie it up against a post and move the van forward and it'll pull it back to the rear door.
And they do sell pallet clamps.
That's the other thing, the pallet clamp. That's the other thing.
They do have a pallet clamp. Now it shouldn't cost you no more than $50 to get one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's your best bet right there if you're having trouble like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that would actually work best for the third pallet if you're that far in. So you're talking about having the Mercedes Sprinter big boat van or an extended body Transit 250, extended body long wheelbase 250. Again, that pallet clamp is probably the best way of doing it.
You could probably find one. You could probably find one on Marketplace. Whoever that guy is.
Well, that third one, if you got a side door, have them put it in way that they can just catch it. Like I have a Sprinter at 20 Mercedes, Freightliner, the partnership they had with Mercedes, 2500. I just tell them put it in that way. They come in, catch it from the side. The second one, like you said, if it's light enough, I muscle that thing back either towards the side door or back towards the end. If there's straps, like you said, I use my ratchet straps from time to time. Sometimes I tie it on there, tie it to the forklift and tell them drive back, pull it to the end.
That's exactly the method. Mm-hmm.
Northern Tool will be your friend. Northern Tool and Harbor Freight will be your friend for buying all the things you may need for your Sprinter van, your transit van, whatever the hell you have. You have to have tools. I have floor dollies. I have the standard dolly. I got ratchet straps strong enough to hold back elephants.
Right.
Rope.
Varied strength. Yeah.
You may need rope one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. You may also a lot of the things, since I have also box truck, I built up a certain inventory of certain things before I even got the box truck. So all I had to do, like with the box truck, is get the like the wheel chocks.
Yes.
Okay. I had to get a pallet jack, but like to get my box truck ready for, like with the E-Track system and all, I had my first set of E-Tracks that I had in the van. I never got rid of them, so I was able to use the wood and the E-Tracks and put those, run those on the side. And then I went to Harbor Freight and bought the other E-Track rails that I needed as well for along the back, up against the back.
Yeah.
Harbor Freight, you'll spend a lot of time there. I also say get you a hydraulic jack. Do not use the rigmarole one that comes with the vehicle. Get you a hydraulic jack because that will save you a lot of time if you're in a situation where you have to change a tire or change out on a tire on the road. It doesn't hurt to get it. You may feel like a NASCAR jack man because it's a little heavy, but I promise you, it saves a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
A lot of time. So back to the OG talk. Now, this is probably a age old question. Do you feel that the young folk, do you think that they really, I would say, respect their elders?
You know, I meet a lot of the young cats, especially from the Amazons and the other little spots. We were doing ABF freight for a while too, because they were behind. They were short drivers here in Georgia, so we were running ABF deliveries. And those the young cats, the unfortunate about that generation, especially ones that look like us, is that they haven't had male mentors to help them understand that level of hierarchy, right? I respect my elders because I grew up in the time where your elders were, you were taught to respect them, right? These few young men don't have fathers that say, "Hey, when you find another man that looks like me that has his wisdom, you need to listen, son, because he's not still here for no reason, right?" The people that didn't make it, those are the ones that weren't going to be anywhere, and so. What I tell people is that, these young guys, I tell them, I say, you got to start listening because I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you because I made it from where you're trying to go, where you're currently at. And so, but I would say that they're very stubborn and they're very hard-headed and pig-headed. I have one here. I've been telling him forever, dude, I can get you more work. I can get you contract work where you're consistent every day, making the same amount of money. Man, that seemed like extra work, man. I'm just trying to do this stuff over here because it's easy, blah, blah, blah. Well, so easy doesn't pay money, man. Easy doesn't pay money.
Easy don't always pay the bills.
Exactly, because you and I both know you had the most complicated work. When you said that about tying the ratchet strap around something, dude, I had a load on my truck, on my box truck once. It was a chassis for a old car that this guy was going to restore. Got to the house. I'm like, I hope you have a skid steer or a forklift. They had nothing.
That's that ABF run you was talking about.
That was ABF. And so I told the wife, the husband wasn't there. I said, hey, ask him, does he have rope in the truck or in his garage? She's like, yeah, he said something in the truck. Grabbed it. I said, now ask him, since I know it's a brand new Ford truck, but ask him, does he mind if I tie around the ball hitch on the truck to help pull this thing onto the lift gate and lower it down to the ground? He was like, no, that's fine. I said, all right, tell him, text that to me because I need that legal, I want that coverage, and so he texted me. So I tied a rope around that thing, just like you said, like tying around a tree. Tied to the ball hitch, tied around that chassis, man, pulled the lift gate up and pulled it all the way and pushed it all the way up to the deck. And then start driving away until it got 50% on the lift gate. Then once it's an important tip down to the ground, I lowered it down the rest of the way on the lift gate, got it off the truck. Man, tell you something. You gotta work, bro. You gotta work, and it takes a lot of brain power and it takes a lot of physical. I've had to muscle 4,000 pounds off the truck. Muscle that. You're talking about 6 pallets, muscling that, man. I'm telling you, you got to work, and a lot of them have that work ethic, right? And they hear you talk about it, they be like, "Oh, this old guy, he just trying to tell them blah blah blah." I make more money than you. You know what I'm saying? I get paid because once they see you work that hard, they want to work with you more, right? When you can resolve issues and you ain't calling them talking about, hey, I couldn't do this because, or you need to pay for this because X, Y, Z. They will do more work with you. They'll book you. They seek you out, and you can then name your price. I'm expensive. He'll tell you, I don't play about money. I don't play. If it says $600, I'm at $800 to $1,000. Nope.
Hey,
add to that, he did. Hey, he did that for me. He sent me a banger on Monday. I'm sorry, on Sunday, on Father's Day. He sent me a banger, and I didn't expect him to get it. He bid that sucker high, and he got it for me. He got it for me. I was up in your area. I was up in Durham yesterday. No, day before yesterday, I was up in Durham.
Yeah, I don't play.
No,
dude. My accounts, I can bid high because I got 5 stars. I don't play games. I don't do that much. What I did for him, I don't do for everybody.
Man, see, here's the thing. The answer is this, and I've said this many a times. You can't get the business unless you ask for it.
That part.
You can't get it
And
unless
he's
you
gonna
ask for
ask.
it.
Oh, I'm
You
gonna
know,
ask.
This guy's gonna ask.
and you hold your ground there. It's that simple. It's that simple. You don't say nothing. You tell them what it is, and you don't, and they tell you whether they can do it or not. It's that simple. It's that simple. It does not take a master class in negotiating.
Nope.
It
But
does
to
not.
your question though, the millennials, it's difficult to work with them because a lot of them haven't been put into the mindset to take advantage of your resources, right? I consider you a resource. I consider Mac a resource. Hopefully you guys consider me the same because we're in the industry where we have to rely on information from one another because I may come up there one day and be like, man, how the hell did I get out of here? And you may say, man, this one company, if you call them right now, they may have something that needs to go back to Atlanta. Right. But we need to learn to use our resources. And these young people, they're so stuck in the mindset that they know what they're doing. They don't need nobody's help because they've done all this by themselves. I've not done anything by myself. It's either been by the grace of God or by people that have been willing and able to provide me with insight that I then took and turned into something that I can use. And that's what it's gonna take out here. You can't go out here willy-nilly thinking that, because all these guys saying they making $8,000 a month, that you gonna make $8,000 a month. You may not. You either may make 10 or you may make 3. You may not
make anything. That's true too. Now, I'm gonna throw this out there as well. It seems to me, my daughter's 27. Okay, so it's not like I'm that far out of touch, but then again, I think sometimes I'm guilty of being a bit out of touch. But it seems to me with the young folk, they're not tough. They don't seem to be as tough. You've got some, but you got a lot of them. They quick to talk about their mental. And I get it that you need to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally, but somehow the mental component isn't there. They're not always that tough. In fact, there's a few of my I'll just say this in private, and there's some content creators out here that I've in private that I've confided in another driver. I said they're a bunch of soft asses. They just seem soft. Enlighten me. Give me a little perspective on that. Am I that far off in my observation?
No, bro. This new generation of kids, let's be realistic. One thing he'll tell you, I'm a realist. I say what the hell I want. And these kids are soft because they're not raised in predicament that allows them to be strong. You got these young boys, and I'm gonna be realistic. It's gonna probably hurt feelings, but sometimes if the truth hurts, say ouch. They're raised by mothers that want to have that claim to fame that I did it all by myself, and they segregate these young men and girls from their fathers. Because you got some solid you got women out here doing this too, and I applaud them. I love seeing women out here doing this in this industry that's been dominated by men for so long. But at the same time, you need to have tough skin, and you need to be serious. You need to be real about it. This can make or break you. You can get hurt out, And so, yes, they're very soft and they're whiny. I've met some solid young guys. I got a guy right now. He, young guy. So he sold his box truck and he was hustling like everything. Well, when I was driving mine, and I called him one day just to check on him because I remember how solid he was. And he said, "Man, I sold that thing. I got a flatbed tow truck." I said, "Okay, interesting." One of my businesses is roadside assistance. And we start talking and he was telling me things and we're sharing information. I'm like, this guy's younger than me by a lot. He's almost 20 years younger than me. And he's very enlightening and intellectual. And I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. But the other guys we know, they're all bumping their heads. They done dropped out the business, all hell and break loose because they did not follow the plan, right? They didn't stick to it. And yes, so you're right. Yes, they're very soft. They're very entitled.
They want instant success. Also, they want it right now. If it's not success right now, then they give up. Just
Okay, so that
basically
goes
what you
back.
just said.
That goes back to my question about hustler versus business. When you hustle, you're looking for immediate payday, you're looking for that immediate money. You're not coming in with an actual strategy. You're not coming in thinking about investment. You're not thinking about business costs. You're not thinking about break point. You're not thinking about insurance. You're not thinking about LLC or corporation or EIN. You're not thinking about those things. You're just thinking about I want to get this money right here, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not even thinking of it. It's just something. It's the small details, right? Think about this. A minute detail that most people won't even think about is where you're going to bank with your business.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to go with Bank of America, Chase, one of these big banks that won't even know that you exist? They just you're putting your money there. Or are you going to go with a credit union or a small bank that only has 1 or 2, 3 branches that's going to recognize you every time you walk in and be attentive to the needs of your business, right?
Well,
that's a big deal.
That's an interesting perspective right there.
Okay, now I see where he's coming from. I would say deal with both. If you're in delivery and transport, you deal with the large bank because they have branches everywhere.
Yes.
You deal with the small bank perhaps to build your business profile.
That part. And I was waiting for somebody to pick up on that. Yes, you would do business with both. You'd have a bank you have an account at the big bank that's nationwide for several reasons. Sometimes I deal with customers that pay cash.
Mm-hmm.
I can deposit that cash in the state I'm in if I have a nationwide account. If I lose my debit card, I can also walk into one of those branches in another state and get a new account or get a new card, right? That's why I bank with Regions Bank, because Regions will print you a new debit card on the spot. You don't have to wait for it on there to come in the mail. And that's an important thing. And you're absolutely right. You want to bank with the smaller or bank or credit union. The credit union, because their interest rates tend to be cheaper, right? The interest rate tend to be cheaper and they're more user friendly. As far as so, that should be your backup account. That should be your reserve account, right? Where you flush money to. You can even put your maintenance account there. And we'll talk about that. That's another one that a lot of people don't.
All right. Because excuse me, MD. I want to acknowledge a couple of folks. Josiah, first time through here, Josiah. I see you, man. He says he's in New Jersey. Dirty Glove, Detroit, place of the potholes. But Detroit, I actually had a very good friend who was from Detroit. She went to Kettering High School, so I'm familiar with talk about Detroit. But yeah, and while I'm at it, y'all, since y'all two are here, if you want to join in the damn conversation and actually chat with us directly, I'm going to put out the link. It seems like folk are kind of catching on now. Angela, I see you. Thanks for stopping through here. She says she's from the DMV. That's the Washington D.C. area. DMV. That's Northern Virginia, Maryland, Washington D.C.
Yeah, that's who gets good money up there for Sprinter vans and box trucks.
You can. I mean, I've had runs to Dulles Airport. It's my personal. I used to live in Richmond, but anyway. So we're talking about now that's another thing, business accounts. Since we're kind of just we're actually putting out here some free game. This is free game that people want to charge you to learn for yourself. Now I've been on record saying that what you need to do is establish 2 business accounts, one for money going in, one for money going out. The reason for that is so that you can keep track of the money respectively. Money that goes out, money that goes in. Okay, I see here Mr. Paul Lyons. All right. Oh, you must be Dirty Glove. He spoke here before. But that's one of the things that I advocate. We already covered about having a large bank for the accessibility, but for the small banks, which can help you out. MD mentioned about maybe another account, which could be one of those 2 accounts, but a third account, which could be like with the small credit union for for that put away money when things go wrong. You got that money to access with your card. Am I correct?
Yep. That man, I'm gonna tell you something. Buddy of mine running a Dodge Ram ProMaster. This guy runs from Washington State to Florida to Massachusetts, Maine, all the way back across California. He runs. Transmission went out.
Mm.
$9,000.
Ow.
$9,000. Now you better have a credit card. You better have money in the bank. You better be ready to pay for when your stuff go down if you don't have a warranty on it. And that warranty ain't gonna last long if you running, right?
Right.
And so that maintenance account is important. Put away a portion of your profits every week. Just, $250, $300. Throw that stuff to a maintenance account. Right. So that way, if something comes up, I broke down on the side of the road recently in my Sprinter van. Called it, but the guy with the tow truck called, man, can you tow this? I'm mad, just ready to go home. I'd made all my money. I'm mad. And so he's like, he said, why don't you fix it? That's what you do on your other business. I said, man, I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. He said, man, I'm gonna come out there. We're gonna get the alternator. We're gonna put it on. So I get up under it and I look. I said, man, the alternator's right here. I take 4 bolts out, pop that thing off. He brings the other one. Alternator on cost me $300. Me and him put it on. I gave him $100 just for doing all, coming out to help me, man, and saved me about that's about $400. Saved me about an extra $1,000.
Yeah, for the cost.
Yeah.
All right.
So you have to you should really get familiar with your vehicle as much as you can. If you can work on it. If you can't, hey, find a good mechanic and and have them on speed dial. The cost of operating a business in the transportation industry is high. Tires, oil changes. You got to get oil changes. You got to get your flushes on your other fluids. You got to buy things. How many people? I'd like to know if there's anybody that actually has a printer in their van.
Well, I don't have one in the van, but there are times I will take a printer with me.
I bought one specifically for the van. It's in the van, and because I can Wi-Fi from my phone, print documents when they send BOLs, when they send bill of ladings, I can print it directly to the printer in the van. So if I'm on the fly and I catch a load, I don't have to go try to find a Kinko's or UPS store to print out library, nothing like that, because that's an important thing, right?
All right, 2 things. First of all, I'm gonna bring on Mr. Paul here, but then I'm gonna also throw out a couple of things, and these are things that I've mentioned in past Gig Geezer segments. DocuSign is an app or platform in which you can have PDF signatures or fill out. You can use it to fill out your rate confirmation sheets. Okay. The other is downloading Adobe Scan so that you can scan your documents and then email them from your phone. The Adobe Scan is free. DocuSign is like, for me, it's like DocuSign is $50 a month, but it's money well spent for me. And I've had it since my days as an insurance agent as well. But Mr. Lyons, Detroit Glove, what it is. Thank you for coming through here, man.
Gig Geezer, I was thinking about you this week, man. Week. You had you had dropped a video when you were talking about you only get the business like when you speak about it or something, like if you advertise yourself or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing a catering order for a local business that's literally right around the corner from me. Literally, it's a small mom and pop kind of grocery store. So we're talking, I'm introducing myself. I'm there early. I'm there polite. I have business cards or whatever. And she's like, do you work for the company? I said, no, I work for Easy Cater. She said, the only reason why I put this on Easy Cater is because I didn't feel like doing it myself. I said, really? She said, yes. I said, well, I'm right around the corner from you. I would love to be your person. You can just message me directly. I need maybe 2 hours notice and I can make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
She calls me today at 9:30, a delivery that's going 40 miles, 275.
There you go.
Is what she paid me.
There you go.
And she said, because you're a small mom the customer tipped, I think, almost $200, give or take. They tipped a large amount. It was one of those big orders, like not necessarily more than 1,000, but it was close. It was about $900.
Right.
And she's like, I'm giving you a little bit extra outside of the delivery, outside of the tip, because I want to make sure that your business is successful. I got 5 lined up next week with her.
There you go. And
She's like,
and
as
that
soon as they
started,
come in.
and it started with a conversation and your business card.
It started with a conversation and me being professional, me being on time,
That
like you
too.
talk about like you guys have been talking about the business mindset, how you carry yourself. And so that brings me to another situation that I had this week, which you spoke about, was the dedicated driver route. I had the opportunity to do a dedicated route. 4 days a week, $1,400.
All right.
But time is money in our business. If you want to tie up 8 hours of my day for $350, $400, I'm like, for me, it's not worth it, because I did the run. I did the run for 2 days. It was probably a total of 550 miles. And it's not set. It's not, I don't go to the same places. It's kind of when their reps call for things, I'm just the carrier that has to go deliver it. So I can't even finagle stuff in between like I thought I was. So I kind of wanted to get your opinion about that.
My
Any
opinion
of you
would
guys,
be
kind of what you think about that?
That's my issue with routes. That's my big issue with routes, is you lose the ability to make more money, or you're stuck in this route all day and you're looking at your other gig apps or whatever, or other load boards or whatever, and you see better things up there and you're stuck doing this.
Here's my take, and then well, that tells you go ahead and have it and give you his opinion. But here's what I say. The average person works 8 hours a day and may make $100 to $150 or less per day, right? You said $350 for 8 hours, right? I tell people your minimum is $350 per day. Your goal should be $350 minimum per day, because you know what that equates to after 2 weeks? That's $3,500 over a month. That's $7,000. How much is that per year? $84,000 a year. Now that's bare minimum, right? But you're right. You have to consider the investment, right? I'll be honest. I'm $100 an hour person. When I bid stuff, I immediately bid, if it's a 5-hour drive, $100. Then I consider fuel. I add fuel costs. If I may be tired and may not want to come right back home, guess who's paying for my hotel? They are. And I don't stay at Motel 6.
Right.
I'm at
okay.
I'm serious. He'll tell you.
He's dead serious. Everything he's telling you, he's dead serious. I'm telling you.
I deliver massage chairs for a company, and I tax the shit out of them, and they pay it. They don't have a problem with paying, because the customers always say the guy that delivered was so amazing, because I'm explaining things to them. They're set up. They see me wipe them down, and I'm on time. I communicate. I do everything so that this company knows that you got the right guy. And I am now in a position, if I can find somebody in Dallas, Texas, I can put them to work making good money, because conventions hit there all the time. Ohio, I need a Sprinter driver in Ohio. They just told me that anywhere they have a high demand for shit, that if I can get somebody there, they'll send me all the work. I have everything all the way up to Ohio, down to Florida, over to Mississippi. Well, even to into Texas right now. Me. I do that.
While I'm at it, y'all, I want to throw this out there. We talked about DocuSign, Adobe Scan, Cam Scanner. There's another one that I've used. This is it's web-based, MetroFax. So what you're able to do is fax those PDFs to wherever you need to go. And now it costs.
You can do that also with HP Smart. HP, if you download HP Smart on your phone, you can also fax and send emails, and you can add a signature on documents as well.
Right. So these are some resources that folk, could I've used Metrofax for my insurance agent days, and again, that's another resource out there. Hey y'all, we're up around 55 minutes, just like that, man. We didn't go up here, got almost to an hour, and I'm almost finished with what some of the questions I was going to ask. That said, we talk about
Yeah, sorry about that. We
out,
kind of took over your show. So
no, this is a conversation, man. It's not just me. It's not just me. I'm glad that there's interaction. I'm glad there's interaction, man, because it makes it goes faster. Okay, I come in prepared to throw some things out there, and we go from there. But for as much as we talk about with young folk and that they're soft asses, that they're hard headed, and all that, young folk also they stand to make more money. They're in a position to make way more money than I did at like my daughter, she's 27. When I was 27, my newspaper job paid $330 a week. Yeah, so that's probably about $440 a week now. But they have the potential of making more money. They have the potential they have the potential of being far more creative than I was at their age. So
yeah, everything. So many. Yes, it's real easy to get into a lot of different types of businesses with DIY. The internet showing you how to do things. It's really easy to get out there and get into stuff, depending on how much ambition you got and how much drive you got to go get it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's real easy to get out there. It's the money sitting right there.
Yeah.
All right. Miss Robinson says she's thinking of getting into the gig expediting medical courier business with her son. Okay, she has a TWIC appointment on Friday, so that means she's gonna do the fingerprinting, take the picture, all that stuff. Now, should she get the TSA as well? Basically, this is just my experience how I got TSA 9 certified. The carrier, a sponsoring carrier, is the one that puts you in a position where you take the study portal, and then you take the test. So that's my experience how you get TSA 9 certified. It's not something that just comes automatically with it. You have to get hooked up with a carrier in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
Now, would you buy a brand new Sprinter or used? Now, you've got folk who've jumped in and have done the new thing, and you've got a couple of channels out there. Personally, I got a 2019 and 2022, and it has served me well. My box truck is a 2006, but it had very good miles for the age. So I'm gonna say it like this: that's gonna be a decision that you have to make, Ms. Robinson. But you're also taking into account costs. You're taking into account costs. While a new vehicle, the assumption is that you're putting the miles on it, but you're still dealing with costs. MD mentioned about insurance costs. There's a higher cost for insurance when you buy a newer vehicle. The only way that you can get around that is if you pay for it cash. Then you can declare a different value on it, because if you're financing it, the insurance company is only going to go by what the market value is of it at that time, and it's going to be a higher insurance cost.
Yeah. And there's so for me, I got my van. He actually went with me to pick it up. We drove down to Tampa to pick it up. I bought it from Ryder. It's a former Ryder Sprinter van, 2019 Freightliner 2500. Set up with the E-Track in it already. Had the bulkhead with the door where you can go between it. You can go from the cockpit back to the cargo area. It was already set up, ready to go, and I got it for cheap. I only paid, I think, like $17,000 for it.
Okay.
So
Very nice van too. Very nice.
What year did you get it?
I got it, Mac, 2 years ago.
Okay, so the market had changed. The prices have come down. 2022, they were still up.
Yeah.
Jeru Tucking. That's Madame Ruth. She was on last week. Go ahead.
I have a 2017 Ford Transit high roof extended that had 95,000 miles on it when I got it. I got it for 14. I got it from an auction. But one of the things that I will recommend to Miss Robertson is, and Gig Geezer, you preach this a lot, and I think it's very valuable. You have to know your market. you have to know your market, because
Exactly.
if you're getting into this because you think it's a get rich quick scheme, it's not. It's gonna be some starting out, like I think Gig Geezer, you even spoke about this. It's some days when you first starting out that you're out there for a long extended period of time until you kind of find your niche and kind of find out what works in your market. In
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, I kind of have not I'm kind of got a I've made some introduction into some warehouses. So like for instance, Hello Fresh was on Roadie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the pay is
Trash.
significantly less. Well,
Right.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. And so me talking to the warehouse manager, I found out that they go through drop off, which is another company that you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
partner with.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up getting a contract through the drop off route for the roadie route that was paying 625 a day,
Okay.
because of the size of my van and how many packages I can hold. So as far
Mm-hmm.
as Miss Robinson want to get in and get into the industry, I drunk the Kool-Aid when I first got in. I got gun ho, I got hooked. I left a good job because I was following the YouTubers. I don't blame them because I'm a grown man. I have to accept the responsibility for that. My only
Mm-hmm.
recommendation for her was, number one, make sure you have a cushion, anywhere from 15 to 20,000, bare minimum at least. And then
Right.
understand, have you, like you talked about, a business plan. If you're gonna be chasing the gig apps, you just hustling. You just literally, like, you need your next fix. You just, the orders coming in, you got to go, you got to go, you got to drop everything you're doing, as opposed to having a business plan. Do you want to do packages? Do you want to move freight? I don't even know where she's located. So it's a lot of different avenues. The van opens you up to a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different avenues. But it's doing your research and doing your homework to make sure that you are making this purchase wisely and not just because you see everybody
Right.
necessarily getting a bag, as they like to say.
Right. Yeah. That's. Um. I hope that those who've seen my content over the last few years, particularly from the Sprinter/Cargo van, so that's December 2022, folk. I've not heard it. Nobody said or anything like that, but I just hope that folk do see that I've tried to pass on, factual, relevant information.
I wish I would have saw your channel first. I wish I would have saw your channel first. Um, it was a lot of bumps and bruises when I first got in the game, and it was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of not understanding what I was getting myself into and the lane that I even wanted to go about.
Mm-hmm.
That I would have approached it a lot. So even young guys, I'm 41. So
Oh.
when I was doing on track and laser ship, I was talking to the younger guys. They're 20, 22, and I'm like, so what's your plan? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where do you see yourself? Like, what do you want to do? Oh, well, I'm just gonna run these packages. I said, they're paying you $1.50 a package, and you're gonna, what do you have you not even thought about trying to get your own lines? Man, what's up? I just gotta go get this money real quick. No problem. Not a
Okay.
problem at all. And then um from my generation, because I'm 41,
Mm-hmm.
when we called them old heads or uncles, when they spoke, we listened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, but nowadays you can't say anything to a lot. I'm not gonna say all, to a lot. And that tough and that ambition and that hustler mentality, like you spoke about, Giggies, or about them soft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I can't get these packages in. I just can't. I said, well, first of all, you
Oh,
only
shit.
you only get what you take out.
Yeah.
So you already crying about this. What you gonna do when you can't find an address? I'm like, let's slow down. Let's. I don't know. And I'm just like, oh, problem solving skills are not there. And I said, you guys just
Oh man,
I feel sorry, but
dude, man, you really making me feel old now. You talking about the 20-year-old guy. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Obviously, I'm old enough to be your father.
Oh wow.
Y'all making me feel fucking old right now.
listen, Geezer,
but if you,
Geezer,
but
I have an uncle
look,
that's an
look.
ultra.
Hey, check it out. I got a head full of hair, man.
I know,
Right?
right?
Head full of fucking hair.
Oh, rub
This
it
is
in.
all. This is all
What's that?
natural too, man. Ain't no fucking Grecian or Mr. Clairol up here, okay?
No Rogaine.
Oh,
None of
man.
that shit, man.
No, nothing.
None of that.
I was telling my uncle.
But these
I
two
was telling
guys
my
bald
uncle
headed.
about you,
So,
though.
Yeah, hey, I've been shaving my hair bald since high school.
Damn, man.
Yeah,
But anyway, it's just the fact that I'm
it
hearing
was
this.
like you know the yeah, like the cut it low, cut it low, cut it low. It's like okay, fine, just. But Gig, I was talking to my uncle about you about a week and a half ago because he wanted something to do, and he's like,
Uh-huh.
I was like, I just put him onto your channel, and he's like, that guy really be out here. I said, yeah, like so. Just keep up the content. I appreciate these type of conversations because in the climate of what's popular on YouTube, as far
Mhm.
as Black men expanding their business and being about their business, that's my price.
Mhm.
So when I used to be in the corporate world, I had no problem with this is what my hourly is. This is what my yearly is. If you want to pay it, you
Mhm.
have me. If you don't, but it's like when it comes to the transportation industry, it's like, well, dang, if what if they go with somebody else? It wasn't for you.
Mhm.
It just was not for you. So I'm
Yeah.
that
learning
part.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think y'all always hear me say, well, it just didn't have my name on it.
Exactly. I
It
can't
just didn't
stand
have
when people get mad because they didn't get a load. Like, look, man, shit, hey, that man protected you. Probably was about to end up in a
absolutely.
backup or a crash or something. That God protected you in that moment. You might want to look at things a
Yeah,
different way
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, man,
yeah.
everything's not for you. Like, there's been
Right.
times where I missed a load and end up getting something shorter, going a shorter distance,
Yeah.
making the same or more.
Right.
hmm
Right. Right.
And so, but back to Angela's thing. So what I would tell you though is just know what you're trying to do. Like the brother said over here, know what you're trying to do. Know your market. If you're in Florida and you can run Florida. Florida will have you back and forth up and down that thing from Jacksonville back down to Key
Wee.
West, over to Tampa, over to Orlando, back up to all these different places, even over to Mobile, Alabama. You can move all up in there and never really leave the state
Well,
for the most
hmm
part.
my man
hmm
Sam Randall, who's been on here recently, Sam Randall from
Yeah,
CMS Cargo
yeah,
Express.
yeah.
He's from West Coast of
hmm
Florida, and Geezer himself has had to come up to his level of money in the last couple of months. But in fact, I'm telling about my next upload. It's really based off of one of his most recent videos, and some asshole tried to give him grief about his video, his content. But Sam does quite well in his market, and he doesn't drive
Yes,
all
yes.
he doesn't drive. He may not go over to Pensacola, but he does well where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, trust me,
And
I've had to go down
I
there from
watched this.
Georgia.
Mhm.
Oh, let me.
But
So I've had to go down.
hold on, all three of you guys are in states that have a heck of a lot more freight because Alabama's not that thick on freight like you guys. I'll say that.
Oh man,
Uh,
no. Just
yeah.
just wait till football season for you, man. Football and your
hmm
white barbecue sauce.
Yeah. But so going from Georgia down there, Florida's hard as hell to get out of. It is hard to get out of. You can get to Florida easy.
hmm
You'll say, hey, I'll take that down there for $1,200. They'll pay you. You get loads trying to come out like, oh, that's going back up home, and you bid on it. Nope, somebody took it for way less.
Yes, that is common. The last time I went to Florida, well, when I go down to, I've gone down to South Florida twice in 2024. The second time was probably more seriously than the first time. But I got the money that I got going in covered me leaving Florida. I didn't even think about trying to find anything.
That's the win. And so I tell people, like, you know what? On the front side, get your money, because going home versus
hmm
deadheading, there may be a load going back that way that you can just say, I'm gonna get this load. It's gonna pay for fuel and put an extra couple dollars in my pocket. I'm not going back on my own dime. I'm not breaking into my profit that I just made to go home, right? And so sometimes you will have to like, okay, that should pay $800. I'm gonna take for $5. You know what I'm saying? Or that should pay $5 for $3. It's an unfortunate evil, but if you want to get out of Florida, especially if you're down in Miami trying to come back to Atlanta, that's a long drive to cover that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I give you that. But again, I was just in that situation where I made my money on the front end.
Oh yeah.
So it all
basically the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So all it took me was what I stopped. Let's see. I stopped in Daytona coming in, stopped in Daytona coming back, and then stopped in, I think it was Orangeburg, Savannah, somewhere. I only had to stop for gas twice to get back to South Carolina. But y'all, hey, we're well over an hour. I think all y'all.
He's an old man.
I keep telling you, I'm older than all y'all.
Hey man, that dude old. I don't know what this guy up here. That guy's old, man. I don't know.
No, dude, I'm Social Security eligible. Okay, I'm Social Security eligible.
You're that old? I didn't think you were there, man.
I'm that old, man.
I'm just a few months away from being able to get that senior menu at IHOP. So,
oh shit, man, that was 10, 12 years ago, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm old, y'all. I'm fucking old, y'all. But you know
you
what?
out here getting it, man. You're passing on great knowledge to people.
Listen, say that part again. You out here and moving smarter than a lot of people that's out here just ripping and running. You're gonna finish the race, Geezer. Believe me, man. You on the right path, man. A lot of people, like I tell you this all the time, a lot of people that understand and maturity and the way how you process information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely for the win.
And doing this keeps you sharp. It's keeping your mind sharp. It's keeping you busy. You're not laying around. You're letting the arthritis take over your body. Hey, you doing the right thing, man.
Oh man, y'all really fucking with me now.
Well, I'm saying, I'm serious though. I mean, my dad died when he was 70, and I told him, I said, Dad, stop laying around, get up, go vacation or something. Do something.
Man, y'all really mess with me. Miss Angela, thank you for checking it out. Thank you for checking things out, Miss Angela. Miss Ruth, thanks for coming through here. Mr. Lyons, thanks for coming through here. MD, thanks for coming through here. Gig Boss Man, thanks for coming through here as well. Even though y'all really fucking with me now with this.
Nothing but respect.
We didn't say nothing about the blue pills. I mean,
no. I don't. No faith pills here. Okay, no faith pills.
Oh my God! Hey man, it was a pleasure, brother. It was a pleasure. I'm checking in with you.
All right, y'all. We're gonna have to do this again, Mr. Lyons. If you would email me, okay.
Okay.
What I'll try to do is, set something up like this again with you and some other folk, where we could just have another group conversation and all, and share some ideas and see what happens.
Get MD's information. You might want him back on too.
Yeah, MD, if you don't mind, email me as well. I'm gonna put the email address in the chat. Okay, there we go.
Real quick, do you use Upside?
No, I've tried that before, but no, I don't use it. Mm-hmm. I know that's the gas thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that? Here's the deal. I am very brand specific or brand picky, and oftentimes they don't have the brand that I'm looking for. So that's why I've not used it in years, but I am familiar with it. Yes.
Yeah, I use it.
I'm sorry. That chat box on the side, is that YouTube chat box?
It's YouTube and live stream. Yeah, but if you're on the YouTube channel, you should be able to access it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm on my phone. I can't see both YouTube and this. I was just wondering if all what those people were saying was coming up on YouTube. Was people commenting on YouTube? I don't.
Well,
Like I said,
that's why I was reading it out as they came out there, like Miss Robinson saying thanking us for the content, Miss Ruth thanking us as well, and then Mr. Lyons just doing that as well. But y'all, hey, we're done. We're gonna do this again later in the summer. We're gonna do this again later in the summer. We have another theme of things to talk about. You know, y'all really made it easy for me, and I'll just say this before I let y'all go. I take time out to think of things, things to ask in terms of questions, and we covered all of them. We covered all of them.
Oh, really? I thought we got off topic. I'm sorry.
No, we were very much on topic. Very much on topic. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No. But man, I appreciate you, brother. Keep doing your thing, man. We just need people that are out here going to think about it, right, and really consider what doing this work and owning the business really entails, so that we can stop dealing with the low balls and the fall through stuff. Yeah. So, but I appreciate you, man.
All right, y'all. Hey, thanks for coming through here. We're gonna do it again. MD, man, email me. Brian Putin, thanks for coming through here, man. Again, just email me, and we'll be doing this again. All right.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, thank you. All right, y'all. Well, that's it for this week. I'll tell you now that I do not have a guest lined up for next week's live stream. I'm speaking, so that'll be June 25th, 2025. So it could very well be another free game night. But I would say this: the conversation that we had was basically free game. If you listen back through this, you'll find that there was a lot of valuable information that was shared tonight. And so, hey, y'all make this so much easier for me with the interaction, and I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all for stopping through here. As I often say, give this content a thumbs up, comment in the section below, share the content among others. And while I'm at it, may your grind, may your hustle, and I should also say, may your business continue. We'll try this again next week.